and that's what we're doing. Today I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will have a new star.
In what is quickly becoming one of the biggest political talking points of this month, former U.S. President and 2024 Republican nominee Donald Trump has once again issued a dramatic and forceful warning to the world's most powerful tech companies. Speaking at a campaign rally this week in Michigan, just days after the Republican National Convention officially confirmed him as the party's candidate for the November 2025 elections, Trump declared that big tech firms like Google, Meta, Amazon, and others are actively working against the will of the American people. He accused these platforms of election interference, censorship, information manipulation, and collusion with political operatives and intelligence agencies. Trump's speech comes as tensions between tech firms and conservative politicians continue to rise, especially as the U.S. approaches another high-stakes presidential election, and as artificial intelligence, digital surveillance, and content moderation become central issues in national political discourse. In his address, Trump didn't hold back. With a tone that mixed urgency and defiance, he accused big tech of being the greatest threat to American democracy since the Cold War, stating that the companies controlling online information are using their power to silence conservative views, manipulate voters, and even shape election outcomes. He went on to claim that companies like YouTube and Facebook systematically suppress news stories that don't support left-leaning narratives while promoting content that aligns with the agendas of Washington insiders and media elites. According to Trump, these actions amount to a new form of political control, one that bypasses voters, lawmakers, and even the courts by dominating the digital space where most Americans now consume their news and form their opinions. What makes this speech different from past criticisms is that Trump laid out, in greater detail than ever before, exactly what actions he plans to take against these tech giants if he returns to the White House. He said that on day one of his presidency, he will demand that Congress pass legislation to revoke Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, a law that shields internet companies from being legally liable for what users post on their platforms. Trump argues that since these companies are no longer neutral, they should no longer enjoy legal immunity. If they curate, moderate, and remove political content based on ideology or pressure from political groups, then, in his view, they should be treated like publishers, not platforms. And if Congress won't act, he promised to sign executive orders and direct the Department of Justice to investigate and prosecute any form of political censorship by big tech. Trump's remarks come amid increasing concern from conservatives and civil liberties advocates that platforms are becoming too powerful, too unaccountable, and too politically biased. In the past few weeks alone, several news stories have emerged that seem to bolster Trump's claims. For example, a whistleblower at a major AI company recently leaked internal memos showing that their algorithms had been tuned to downrank content critical of current administration policies. In another case, with no explanation other than vague references to misinformation policies, these examples have added fuel to a growing movement on the right that views big tech not only as biased, but as actively working to influence public policy. But Trump's plan doesn't stop with repealing Section 230. He also vowed to use federal antitrust laws to break up what he calls digital monopolies. He specifically named Google and Amazon as companies that have grown so large and so powerful that they can now control entire sectors of the economy and culture. Trump said he would direct the Department of Justice to launch formal investigations into how these companies acquire competitors, use data to crush smaller rivals, and control public access to information. He even floated the idea of introducing new rules that would force tech platforms to follow free speech laws the same way a government institution would. This proposal, which echoes earlier moves in states like Florida and Texas, would fundamentally change the relationship between tech companies and users, transforming them into something closer to regulated utilities, like electricity or water providers, rather than private businesses. Interestingly, these threats are being issued at a time when many tech companies are already under heavy scrutiny. Just last week, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that government officials may not pressure social media companies to remove content without violating the First Amendment. That decision came in response to a lawsuit alleging that the Biden administration had improperly pressured Facebook and Twitter to take down posts related to COVID-19 and vaccine skepticism. While the court didn't go so far as to outlaw all communication between government and platforms, it did set new boundaries that Trump says don't go far enough. In his view, not only should the government be banned from coordinating content removal, but platforms that comply with political pressure should face massive fines, license revocation, and even criminal investigation. Trump's campaign also released a new digital policy framework this week called Free America Online. The plan outlines several major proposals, including a federal digital rights charter that would guarantee users freedom of expression on all major platforms, a national audit of content moderation algorithms to detect bias, and the creation of a new federal agency called the Office of Online Freedom. This agency would have the authority to investigate digital censorship, enforce free speech standards, and protect whistleblowers who expose content suppression. Supporters of Trump's plan say it's a long overdue response to a tech industry that has grown beyond democratic accountability. Critics, however, argue that such moves would amount to government control over speech, potentially forcing platforms to allow hate speech, disinformation, and foreign propaganda under the guise of free expression. It's also important to note that Trump's warning is not only directed at American companies. He also criticized Chinese-owned platforms like TikTok, which he accused of collecting massive amounts of data on American citizens and using it to manipulate political attitudes. Trump called on Congress to pass a permanent national ban on TikTok, echoing moves by several states that have already restricted its use on government devices. He warned that if the app is not shut down, it could become a digital Trojan horse for foreign influence in the 2025 election. At the same time, Trump acknowledged that simply banning apps isn't enough. He said that American companies themselves have adopted the same manipulative tactics, using psychological profiling, algorithmic filtering, and data targeting to influence how users think, vote, and act. As of today, tech companies have largely remained silent in response to Trump's latest comments, though insiders are reportedly concerned. Industry analysts say that if Trump returns to office and Republicans regain full control of Congress, the changes he's proposing could absolutely be pushed into law. While legal challenges would certainly follow, the threat of political retaliation is being taken seriously behind closed doors. Many tech executives are now quietly discussing how to prepare for a political environment that may soon be far less friendly and far more aggressive toward Silicon Valley's culture of internal rulemaking. This warning from Donald Trump, issued in such a public and combative way, is more than just a campaign moment. It's a declaration of war against the centralized control of digital speech. It is also a signal to millions of voters that Trump intends to fight a different kind of battle if re-elected, not just on issues like immigration or trade, but on the fundamental rules that govern how people communicate, share ideas, and influence each other online. Whether one agrees with him or not, the fact remains. We are entering an era where the future of free speech, online platforms, and political expression will be one of the most important battles of our generation. And Trump has made it clear he's ready to lead that fight from the front lines. And as this digital battle intensifies, one thing is certain: what's at stake isn't just technology policy or political rivalry. What's truly at stake is the freedom to speak, to question, and to be heard in an age where algorithms decide what rises and what disappears. Donald Trump's warning has reignited a firestorm of debate, and whether you agree with him or not, the questions he's raising affect every single person who uses the internet today. From election integrity to freedom of expression, these issues go beyond politics. They touch the core of our digital lives. But what do you think? Do you believe tech companies have too much control over what we see and say online? Is Trump right to crack down on them, or is it just political theater? I want to hear your thoughts. So drop a comment below and join the conversation. If you found this video informative, thought-provoking, or even a little controversial, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss our deep dive coverage on politics, tech, and truth. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay critical, and as always, stay connected.